Hello and welcome to another session from Ask Learning. In today's session, we will be talking about IELTS writing section. Specifically, we will be discussing the band descriptors for IELTS. But today, we will be looking or diving deeper into the band descriptors and understanding it word by word. So this will be a much deeper analysis of the class. So I would like you to have some patience, and this might get a bit tad boring. So hold on to your horses, and by the end of it, I can assure you that you'll learn a lot more about IELTS and what IELTS actually expects from you. So hang in there. Now, when we talk about band descriptors, IELTS has divided band descriptors into four particular sections. That is, task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resources, grammatical range and accuracy. So these are the four. Task achievement, of course, that is something related to answering the question properly or answering all the aspects of the question. We will come back to it and discuss that in much more detail. The second thing is about coherence and cohesion. I'll be again explaining you what those two words mean and taking the class further with that. Lexical resources. Now, this is something related to vocabulary, to different words, and to how you play with words. Okay. Now, last and final is grammatical range and accuracy. How good you are with your grammar. So these are the four parameters on which IELTS tests. IELTS has a band scoring of 0 up until 9. Most of us here are looking for a band score ranging between 6.5 and 7, or possibly more than 7. This video is specifically going to discuss about band 6 and 7, or to be more precise, it will be comparing the difference between band 6 and 7. So let's begin. Alright, so if you see here, for band 6, I have written or I have shown you the band 6 descriptors for task achievement, that is TA. That particular parameter, TA, I've shown you the band descriptor for band 6. Go through it, take your time. I'll also go through it along with you. For band 6, the candidate has addressed all the parts of the task, although some parts may be more fully covered than others. Now let me take you to the same point for band 7. Here, for band 7, it's just simply written, addresses all parts of the task. There's nothing in continuation, that's all. So, if you look at it, for band 6, there is some leeway given here that some parts can be more described, some parts may be less described. So in essence, they're talking about the balance of your essay. Let's say body 1 and body 2. You have more words in body 1, less words in body 2. Possibly that's what concerns them here. Okay? Whereas for a band 7, there is no leeway like that. So a band 6 candidate might have some imbalances in his essay, but for a band 7, that is not expected. It has to be perfectly balanced. So one way to keep that in check would be to make sure that the number of lines that you are using for for your first paragraph, that is body paragraph 1, is equal to the number of lines that you are using for your body paragraph 2. Or in simple words, both body paragraphs should match. That's all. So that's the first point about task achievement in band 6 and band 7. We compared it and we understood something here. Let's move to the next point. The next point for band 6, right on here, is presents a relevant position, although the conclusions may become unclear or repetitive. So they're talking about a relevant position, they're talking about conclusion, they're talking about it becoming unclear or repetitive. Now let's move to band 7 and see what's there. That's band 7. Now for band 7, it says presents a clear position throughout the response. says presents a clear position throughout the response. Correct? Now, what's the difference here? Let's dive deeper. For band 6, there is one although the conclusions may become unclear or repetitive. In band 6, again, you have another leeway here that your conclusions may be unclear, may be repetitive. Maybe you have talked about the conclusion or the pointer that you're trying to explain in conclusion is already discussed in body 1 or body 2. Maybe what you are talking about as a conclusion is not that clear. Both these cases, you might still land in band 6. Okay. But what do you need to make sure that you put down all the relevant positions or pointers expected out of you in the essay. So that compels you to have a greater understanding of the question. As a tip, I would expect all my students or all the listeners to go ahead and read an IELTS question for at least 2 to 3 times. Only then you will understand that there are many different elements to a particular question. It is imperative that we understand these elements, and all of them are mentioned or discussed somewhere in the essay. That's very important. Keep a check on that. Okay. Now, let me switch back to band 7. Band 7 says presents a clear position throughout the response. Again, that leeway is not given to this band 7 candidate. Okay. You cannot be unclear. You cannot be repetitive. Band 6 can still do that. So understand this small difference in the band descriptors, that there are certain things that we let go for a band 6, and there is a level of stringency that we add when we move higher along the band score. Okay, clarity is something that IELTS essays require, and most examiners would seek for a much clear and much crisp essay than a lot of words which are jumbled together, which form big sentences, make it very difficult to understand. That's not a good writing style altogether. Rather, write simple sentences, not just simple sentences, but you can write complex sentences using less words. I would give more marks, or I would weigh more for an essay or for a sentence which uses less words and gives me a complex compound sentence, rather than a sentence which uses, let's say, 10, 20, 15 words and is just giving me a complex compound sentence. Okay? So please understand, it's not the length of your essay, or it's not how repetitive you become. Well, that's a tendency there when you try to lengthen your essays. So the point is, try not to do that. Try not to put unnecessary words, or try not to put things which do not fit in your essay just for the sake of it. Okay? Many times I've seen students who are good with, students who just happen to learn a new word. They would try and put that word or add that word everywhere. You cannot do that in an academic essay. Possibly in your speech or while you're talking to your friends, you can do that, but not in an academic essay. That's not your playground for such fancies. So, coming back to the point, let's understand that the second point is talking about clarity. If you put both band 6 and band 7 right across each other, you can see band 6 gives you some leeway about the conclusion becoming unclear or repetitive. Band 7 does not give you that leeway. Band 7 asks you or demands you to have a clear position throughout. Okay. So many students come and ask me, so can I write an opinion when I write the intro paragraph? I tell them, no, don't write an opinion, but rather give an indication of what you will be discussing or what you will be putting forward. Don't just outrightly give your opinion. That's, again, then what's the point for the reader to read through the whole essay. There's no incentive for him to read through or continue reading, right? I hope you understand that. Okay, so I have loitered around this point a lot. Let me move to the third point. Now, that's the third point right in front of you. That's for band 6. Presence, relevant, main ideas, but some may be inadequately developed or unclear. Let's just look at band 7 also. Presence extends, supports main ideas, but there may be a tendency to overgeneralize and to support and or supporting ideas may lack focus. Okay, so let's take it part by part. Let's take the first part at this point for band 6 and 7. Presence, relevant main ideas, that's for band 6. For band 7, presence extends and supports main ideas. Okay, they're discussing about, let's say, crime rate has increased because of technology. Do you agree or disagree? So the question is, crime rate has increased because of technology. Do you agree or disagree? Simple question, right? Now, somewhere the students go wrong, or even professionals go wrong when they put in or they try to cramp up 5 or 6 different arguments in one paragraph. First of all, you have to finish this essay in 260, 270 words. Max to max, I would say, try not to cross the line 300 line. Okay, so 250 to 300 is the range. Try to be comfortable somewhere around 270, 280. Okay. Now, to be there, you cannot go ahead and put 5 different points and then have an opportunity to explain them further. Either you can put 5 points, list them out as 5 different points, or you can give me 2 pointers and explain them. Okay, I'm sure you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm asking you to put not just 5 or 6 different pointers, but rather go ahead and explain your pointers, explain your arguments. Okay, don't just give an argument, explain it out, talk about it. Now, you might ask, how do I explain? Give examples, examples from your life, examples from what you have seen, examples from make up examples. Yeah, even that does not matter. Okay, so you can even make up few examples on your own. It does not matter. Nobody is going to check if your example is true or false. Okay, all it requires is to be in context, in line with the question, and all it requires is to be grammatically correct, to use some vocabulary here and there to fit in the context. Okay, so nobody is going to check if your example is true or not, but try not to lose a sense of logic also. Okay, keep that. So, if you look at the first point, band 7 says that he presents or she or he presents, extends and supports the main idea. So we have talked about what is presenting your idea or your argument and what is supporting your idea. One way of supporting your idea is by giving examples, right? Another way of supporting your idea is to talk about it, is to discuss the problem. Okay, so let's say, let's come back to our question. Technology has increased crime rate. Do you agree or disagree? So let's for a moment think about one particular argument where it is agreeing to this fact that technology has increased, has helped crime rate to increase. So one argument that comes out of the blue is nowadays hackers use the internet and the programming language to their use and steal personal information. Well, this line that I just said, you can repeat, go back and listen to it. This line is all about the argument. It's just an argument. Now I need to explain this argument. One way is to use an example and go ahead with it. One way of explaining an argument is to talk about it more. We were talking about hackers. We were talking about hackers using programming language, right? So let's talk about explaining this. Recently, it has been found that the deep web or the dark web has been used by hackers to use or to create programs which can bypass security measures by popular apps such as WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. Now here I have explained the problem. How did I explain the problem? I mentioned the dark web or the deep web, and I mentioned how hackers get all this information about you. They get it from the dark web. Although not much of an explanation, but I did put in an attempt there. Okay. In the end, I was concerned that this might not be that convincing for somebody. So let's put an example here as well. So that's why I included WhatsApp also, and I included Facebook. Although I'm not very sure, I'm just using their name as an example here. Okay, no affiliations or no problems with them whatsoever. This, what I did with you, is all about supporting the main idea. Okay, I taught you how to support your main idea, either through an example or by talking some more about that particular argument. You can add more to this example, or you can add more to this explanation. Okay, it's up to you. But don't overdo it. Don't go with the thought and continue in the thought. Once you have written one or two lines to explain your argument, move over to the next argument or close the paragraph or wherever you are, do accordingly. Okay. Now, uh, let's discuss the final part of task achievement. That is this. This is band 6, the second part of our final pointer. That was, but some may be inadequately developed or unclear. In the full pointer was presence, relevant, main ideas, but some may be inadequately developed or unclear. Okay, so we already discussed presence, relevant, main ideas. We need to discuss here some may be inadequately developed or unclear. So what do you mean by inadequately developed? Again, a pointer without an argument, without an explanation, is an inadequately developed argument. While I gave you the last example where I used WhatsApp, Facebook, the reason why I ended that sentence with giving an example for WhatsApp or Facebook is because somewhere I felt that I was inadequately explaining the argument. So that's why I felt there is a need to put an example as well. Okay. So understand this. You'll be stuck in band 6 if your arguments are not explained. If you're writing an essay which is a list of 5 or 6 different arguments, don't expect to reach a band 7. For a band 7, I expect you to also explain your argument, to write at least 2 lines about it, or better still, to give me an example about it, or discuss an example on it. Okay. Now, there is one particular leeway that is given here for band 7. Okay. That is, when you are explaining your pointer, of course, there would be a tendency for you to overgeneralize the pointer, to go slightly, let's say, out of focus, okay, or let's say off topic. I would not use those words as such, but I would rather say you lack your focus or you lost your focus. Okay, when this happens, when you are explaining your argument, this usually happens when you're explaining your argument, and that is okay. This is okay. You will still get a band 7. But if you're looking for band 8, that's not okay. Okay, you have to be relevant with your explanation as well. For band 7, that's okay. Most of you are looking for band 7 or band 6. Please understand, what is important here is to go ahead and explain your pointer, even if you are going a little bit off track, even if you are overgeneralizing the statement, even if you are lacking some bit of focus. It's okay. Don't overdo it. Don't completely go off topic. Well, that will not help you. That will bring you, let's say, even below a 6 band, because then it will mean that you do not understand the question altogether. So when I say keep a check on it, keep an open eye on it, and try not to lose too much focus. Okay, try not to go too much away from the main idea or from your main argument. Stay close to it. Okay, but yes, that is the leeway, and that is something that can still land you at band 7. Now here, right now, we've discussed just the task achievement part of IELTS band descriptors. I've only discussed band 6 and band 7. Band 8 becomes more stringent, band 5 is more lenient. So if you are looking for a different score, you can very well look at this document. This document on IELTS band descriptors is available on IELTS website. I have shared a link below in the descriptor, and in the description below there is a link, and you can also download it from British Council, IDP, University of Cambridge website. All those websites might have a public version of the band descriptors. So this was band descriptor for IELTS task 2, that is IELTS essay. It is not over yet. There is another video which will be coming up, and that will be discussing band descriptors for IELTS essay, but the rest of the sections, that is coherence and cohesion, lexical resources, and grammatical range and accuracy. Okay, these 3 topics will be discussed in another set of video. So thank you so much for being a part of this video. I hope you gained a lot from this, and I hope you'll be eager to watch the next set of videos which explains in detail on band descriptors for IELTS. IELTS, yes, this is both for academic as well as general candidates. And please do like, share, or even subscribe our channel for further updates and notifications. You can also click on the bell icon which is right below on the extreme right hand side. So thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye bye. See you.